Hello, Lynn. Good morning.
Good morning, Giselle.
Before we start today's episode, it's already the second week before the end of July. But I wanted to say happy birthday to Lynn. I didn't say happy
Thank you.
birthday last week when we recorded, and I want you all to say happy birthday to Lynn. And thank you so much for all you do. And this podcast wouldn't be what it is without you. So I wanted to make sure we put this in there and let everyone know that July is your month. So happy
Just
birthday.
thank you. Just like how May is yours.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Well, tell everybody what you did this past weekend for your birthday. How was it?
So the weekend before my birthday, we went to my friend's beach house up in Massachusetts. It's like border of New Hampshire and Mass. And we just had a really good time, just relaxing, chilling at the beach, which is, my favorite place in the world.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Very relaxing away from the city.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know you had school on your birthday.
Yeah, I had class and lab on my birthday.
Did you guys celebrate at school at all? No.
No, I didn't say anything. But I got my birthday beverage from Starbucks, and Gongcha gave me $5 off as a birthday treat.
Oh yay! Ooh,
So I got my birthday drinks.
Is Gongcha, is that a boba place?
Yeah, it's a Taiwanese chain.
I feel like I've heard of it before. Yay, that's
exciting. It's pretty famous, well known.
Everyone tell her happy birthday when you see her.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yay. I just want to make sure everybody knows July. Happy birthday month.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Like, this journey has been really eye-opening and so much fun. Like, we try, like, the efforts that I see you put into this podcast, your page, and just try to help many other people who want to do sonography is very inspiring. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're my mentor.
It's about you. No, I mean, I appreciate you because obviously we remember in the beginning when we started talking about it, we're like, what if we did a podcast? But like, I feel like it's really cool, especially because obviously we're both very similar, but also very different. We're like,
and we've never met each other in real life.
I know, but it's so fun. And one day we will. But yay, thank you and happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right, guys, stay tuned for this following episode. It's going to be a great one.
Yes, it is. Everyone, welcome to Sonographers in the Cities. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Giselle.
Thank you so much for tuning in. That's it.
That's all. Thanks, guys.
That's all. That is all.
That's the intro. Well, today we don't really need a huge intro because we've got a special guest for you guys. And as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, we have a very special guest today. And today we have Julie on the podcast, who is a newly registered sonographer, but she has done so many amazing things. And I'm sure a lot of you guys already know who she is. And if you don't, why don't you know about her? She's pretty big out there on Instagram and YouTube. And we have Julie here on the podcast. So thank you so much for coming in. Hello, Julie.
Hi, thank you again, guys, so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here and talk to everybody about ultrasound.
We're so excited to have you here. It looks so beautiful where you're at. First of all, for those of you who aren't watching the video, where are you at so everyone can know where you're at?
So I'm located just outside of Atlanta, like a suburb of Atlanta, a little bit north.
Did you grow up out there? Or?
I did, yeah. I've lived here. I was born in Atlanta. And we moved to North Carolina for a short time when I was really young. And then we moved back here, and I've lived here basically my whole life.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so proud of you and everything that you've been through. I remember when I first saw your YouTube channel and I was like, dang, this girl, she's got it together. Like, your videos, for those of you who don't know, she does ultrasound videos. They're very helpful, very successful. Tell us a little bit about who you are, obviously why ultrasound and how you got into, starting your videos? Because you were a student when you started doing all that.
Yeah, I had just been accepted into the program when I just started to, when I decided to make a YouTube video just on how I got into the program, thinking that was like the biggest thing I had accomplished, And then going through the whole program, it was just like, wow, I can share piece by piece everything that I'm learning through these 2 years and share it with other people who are either going through the same thing right now or who want to do the same thing. I watched, your videos and Christy's videos when I was thinking about ultrasound as a career. And it was, really inspiring and really helpful and made me so excited for, the potential future career. So I just wanted to be able to do the same for other people. And the way that I got into ultrasound, so always, even from when I was little, I always wanted to do something in the medical field, but when you're young, you just think, oh, doctor, but never wanted to go to school long enough to become a doctor. And so, I was doing a lot of research on different types of medical jobs. I was thinking about like phlebotomy for a little while, like blood drawing and things like that. And actually, my aunt who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida, she's an ultrasound tech. And so I had learned a lot from her just about, what the job kind of entails and school, what kind of education you need. And it really sounded like something I would be interested in. So at the time, I was a junior in high school. So, I'm kind of, that's the kind of time where I'm like, researching jobs and what do I want to do, who knows really at that age. So I'm like looking up all this different kind of stuff. And while I was in high school, I was doing, I don't know if everyone's familiar with this, but I was doing what's called dual enrollment. So I was taking classes at like a small college near my high school and getting like college credits for classes, but they also count for high school stuff, which is really, really nice. So I was doing that, and I happened to, go on Google and type, best sonography schools in Georgia. And Gwinnett Tech, which is the school I graduated from, Gwinnett Tech pops up on the list. And that's where I happened to be doing my dual enrollment classes also. So it was just like, wow, like this is all really lining up for me. So I start looking into the program, just to see how successful is it and, what it's all about, what I need to do to get in. And of course, I find out, it's extremely competitive. They let in my class, they let in 16 people that year, out of hundreds of people applying. So I'm like, wow, this is a lot. So that was when I really had to kind of like flip my whole life, because in high school, I was not the best student. I didn't care that much. So then I'm like, wow, like here's this career that I really think could be great for me. And here's what I got to do to get it. So let's get it done. And so I started like really creating study habits and studying hard and, really trying and paying attention and just putting in a lot more effort than I really ever had before. And so it was like a huge success when I found out I got into the program. I mean, it was like, maybe I'll get in, who knows? If not, I'll figure something out, and then to work so hard, basically like I hadn't always done that. So to do that and then have it actually pay off and get this amazing thing that I wanted, it was like, wow, this is so great. And I think just that kind of motivated me throughout the whole program. Like I had that boost for the whole 2 years of just, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do everything the best that I can and just get through these 2 years and then, be a sonographer. And it's really great.
That's amazing.
I can feel your passion or that feeling, that high that you got accepted through what you just told us. And that's just like really inspiring, hopefully inspiring for prospective students who are listening to this episode.
Too. It's a lot of, you've got to put in the effort and the hard work, but it really pays off. And it's such a cool job, I mean, you just see so many really interesting things out there. Like there's never a boring day. And if there is, it's probably well-deserved. You've probably been working hard and you're ready to just kind of sit back and relax. So it's a really good career. Like I would recommend it to anybody thinking about any kind of healthcare, going into anything healthcare. I would say, look up ultrasound. It's a really cool job.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And especially with everything that you've you saw that from the beginning, you knew what you needed to change and you had to find better habits. I absolutely love that you said that because a lot of people ask us all the time, like,
Oh,
I like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I will know what I'm seeing, and it just takes time. And I mean, you can see that people obviously are very successful from it. And even just in the 2 years in the program and all that good stuff. And you are a shining example. And I remember seeing you passing all your registries and being like, oh my gosh, you passed. Oh my gosh, you passed another one. Like, dude, this is so cool. Like, congratulations for all of that you've accomplished. And, did you, I saw that you posted about fetal echo. Do you do that as well? Or did they teach you that as well? Because I know
they
you do
taught
general.
it wasn't really so much echo. We weren't um I don't know a whole lot about fetal echoes, but we weren't really listening to heart blood flow or anything like that. But during our second and third trimester class, we did spend a lot of time on the heart. So we had to know just like where to find the outflow tracks and make sure, everything looks correct and everything. And I found that really interesting. I really liked that.
Mm.
But at that point in the program, I knew I didn't want to go into just like an OB type job.
Mhm.
And we don't do a whole lot of OB at the hospital that I'm at now. Through the ER, we get first trimester, patients with symptoms, bleeding, things like that. But we don't get too much like second and third. I don't really do like anatomy scans. But in school, it was like we had to do an anatomy scan every single day. And you just tried to get as far through the scan as you could in like 30 minutes. You got 30 minutes to do an anatomy, knock it out.
Mhm.
So the fetal heart stuff is really interesting. It really is.
Yeah. I know that's something that Lynn wants to eventually learn. So, because
Yeah.
she's in Echo. Um,
Eventually.
eventually, um, I know that like your job is very similar to mine because I do exactly what you do. I do all of general. We scan everything except for the heart, which is exactly what you said that you did. Um, so just real quick, kind of like w- we're diving deep into general sonography. So, why do you like general sonography? Like, why do you like RDMS over, for people who are like contemplating between general and vascular echo? Because Lynn is echovascular and then I'm general. And then right now we're focusing on general. So why would you say that's something someone should choose if they so choose that versus echo?
Yeah, so that was definitely something, even when I was first applying to programs and stuff, that I was thinking about. Because, like I said, the programs are so competitive. I applied to multiple. So I did apply to an echo program, and I even applied to like a cath lab program, like just, applying to stuff. And I watched a lot of videos. I did a lot of research on the specifics of the jobs. And you can do that and it still won't fully prepare you. I mean, you just have to be in it to really know what you're getting into. But, I enjoy vascular. It's not my like most favorites, but I enjoy it here and there. What I will say is that it's challenging. So you really have to be super interested in it, is what I think. If you really have a passion for it and you find it really interesting, then that's awesome, and that kind of puts aside yeah, it's challenging. It's all challenging. But if you really have that passion for it, then you want to learn. And for me, it was just kind of like when we learned how to scan legs and carotid arteries. Yeah, it was interesting. But then the difficulty of it, once we had already gotten really comfortable with general, I decided to just stay with general. But as opposed to like an echo program, if we're kind of talking about the difference between that too, I've also applied to an echo program, but I ended up going with general just because you get to scan so many more things. You get to scan all the abdominal organs, you get to look at babies. Most of the time, you still get to do a little bit of vascular here and there. So to me, it was just a matter of it being a more interesting career, getting to do lots of different scans rather than looking at the heart all day, every day. And if that's what you like, then that's awesome. If you love the heart and it's so interesting. You know, I just couldn't really get on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like general. I think it's really great. You know, you have to know a lot, obviously, because you're looking at almost the whole body, but it's really interesting to just have so many different things to learn about, you know, during all the time that you're in school. With vascular, as far as like studying for the registries, because there would be a lot of vascular questions in my material as I was studying for the general registries, which I knew wasn't really going to be on the general test so much, but they would still throw a couple of practice questions in there on some of the stuff I was looking at. And I mean, it just kind of went above what my program taught. We had our summer semester was our vascular class. So we pretty much just covered legs and carotids. We learned the anatomy of an arm and like how to scan it. And we learned how to do all the blood pressure cuffs and everything, but it was very quick. You know, it was just kind of like, here's an intro to this vascular stuff. If you're interested in it, you can pursue it on your own later, you know, after you graduate and everything. And if you're not, then just forget about it, you know? So I think it also just depends on what information your program gives you. You know, if you spend a bunch of time on vascular and they really, you know, prepare you for it and make you feel confident with it, that helps a lot. Because I think after that semester, I wasn't like 100% like, oh yeah, I know how to scan arms and legs and carotids and everything. And I think just kind of being a little bit like, you know, cautious on, oh, well, I don't really know if I, you know, feel comfortable. You know, it kind of made me think, oh yeah, I don't know. So I think a lot of it also has to do with your program. So that would be something, you know, for prospective students to look into, you know, contact the school and find out, you know, how in depth do you go into these specific topics if you know you're interested in something, or you know you're definitely not interested in something. You know, make sure that your interests are going to line up with what they're going to teach you in school. You know, I didn't do that, but looking back on the whole process now, I think that would be a really good idea for some people to do.
Yeah, I like that. That's really good advice. It's kind of, it goes for like, what do you wish you knew before going into the program now that you're out of it?
Since you love general so much, what was like the most challenging thing about learning general, and now that you're a sonographer, scanning general?
All right. So I think that it has changed so much. Like the most difficult thing, you know, it's not just one thing. It's like it changes as you learn and you go through the program. I think I remember like when I first started, and everyone's going to agree, the pancreas was just like, oh my God, where is it? I don't see it. What are you talking about? We weren't even learning the pancreas yet. Like my program, we started with one organ and we would learn how to scan that organ and then go to the next organ. And we started with aorta, easy, black circle, black straight line, just find that and you're good, you know? And my professors would come walking around the room and go, oh, nice pancreas. And you're just like, where? Like, what are you talking about? And, you know, still we don't see the pancreas sometimes, but now it's like, now I know where to find the pancreas. I know what the pancreas looks like. If there's a bunch of bowel covering the pancreas, you know, pancreas area, that's it. So it's like, I'm way over that. But at the beginning, that's like a huge, scary thing. You're like, I can't see a whole organ. How am I ever going to be a sonographer? Tell the doctor I don't see it. Sorry, you know? And then I think moving through the program, you know, after you kind of get the basics and you're just kind of refining your skills and, you know, trying to get faster and pick up on more pathology and be able to scan more difficult patients with more confidence. I think at that level, I really struggled for a long time with wanting all my images to be perfect, you know? And that's honestly not the point. The images need to be diagnostic, not perfect. And that's what my professors would always tell me. They'd be like, you know, strive for a diagnostic exam, not a perfect exam, because it's going to take you 3 hours to scan a perfect exam. You know, you can't do that realistically in the career. And, you know, every clinical site they tell you is like a job interview. Our clinical rotations were 8 weeks. So you have 8 weeks, and sometimes you'd be at multiple sites at once. And it's basically like an extended job interview. So you don't want to be scanning a patient for 3 hours. They're not going to want to hire you, you know? Mm-hmm. So that was one of the things that took me a little while to kind of just get over, I guess. You know, it's like, look behind all the shadows, you know, prove to yourself, yes, I looked at every single spot on this kidney. But does the entire kidney without a single rib shadow need to be on the screen in the picture? It's not always going to happen, you know? If you look everywhere and you prove to yourself and you take a representative diagnostic image and then move on to the next picture, you know, that took me a really long time I really struggled with wanting, you know, perfection when really you need to strive to be diagnostic. You know, that's what's going to get you a job ultimately. And, you know, taking perfect pictures doesn't always mean they're diagnostic. You got to be paying attention, you know, and looking at every single thing and trying to spot pathology and everything. So that was one of the things definitely that I struggled with for a while in the program.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, now it's kind of just like having the confidence to just be on my own, you know? And yeah, there's people there that I can ask for help, but it's like I want to be, you know, able to do the job by myself, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where one of the things that I'm working on now. And I did work one overnight shift for a whole week all by myself. We only have the one tech overnight. And that kind of helped me to overcome that a little bit because I was alone. There was nobody for me to ask. I could call my boss at 4:00 in the morning to ask her a stupid question, but I didn't want to do that, you know? So that really helped me. I'm feeling a lot better now about, you know, just sometimes you just got to make a decision on your own and just stand by it.
I have
That's
two.
awesome.
Yeah, I have two things I want to say before it goes out of my brain. Number one, I really like that you said strive for diagnostic images. And number two, your mentors and your school is amazing because you basically just talked about the life cycle of a student going into a sonographer. And that's exactly what I think every student is going to go through, what you just said. And so this is like very amazing for you to say all of that in one like sitting because that's exactly the stages of life as a student to sonographer. And you're basically just saying what everyone is like what they're going to expect as a student almost. And I absolutely am just like in my head I'm like, wow, I relate, you know?
Same, me too.
So like it's amazing that you said it perfectly. It's kind of like the stages of growing up as a sonographer, from student to sonographer, and you can clearly see that you had amazing mentors and people who guided you throughout this whole, process. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say that before I forgot it.
And also I want to give you credit for all of this because you knew when you needed to get yourself together when you get into the program and knew what you wanted and go for it since day one. And that's really impressive. And I applaud you for doing that. And look where you are now.
Yeah.
Teaching us on Instagram with all the pathologies and all that stuff.
Yes.
I love seeing that.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it was like I said, it was hard, but it's so worth it. Like it really is. It's
Mhm.
such a cool job.
Yeah, and I want you to know that like everything that you've learned and that you've gone through, I mean, it's so valid. You can see that you're a great sonographer already. I know you just graduated recently, but like you basically have the knowledge of what it would take somebody to learn for a very long time. Like a lot of us still are like, worried about, oh, should I take this picture or can I move on from that? Or the confidence obviously will build over time. Like, yeah, you're new, but it's going to be there and it's growing. And I just think that you have so much more in store for you. Like, and I'm excited for, everything that you're going to have coming your way. And, you know, your hospital is very lucky to have you as a sonographer. Your patients are very lucky to have someone like you. And we're just so thankful to have you on and just share your story.
So sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really did my school is amazing. It is such a good program. It's very small, and very like connected,
Mhm.
and our teachers are just amazing. All the information, all of everything they have for us, just the way that they teach their classes. And they tell us from day one that they expect a lot. It
Mhm.
was, I mean, it was very stressful. It was a high stress, compressed program. It's a lot. It really like takes it out of you, you know? But I think going through all that, you know, at the time you're like, oh my God, why are we doing this? Like, oh, this is too much. But then you get through it and you're like, I'm really glad that I went through all of that because now I trust myself. You know, it's like I went through all that and I came out the other side successfully. So I can have real trust in my skills. And I think that's really important. I think it's really important to make sure that people are choosing a really good school that when they come out of they can have that confidence, you know, that they completed this program, they have this behind them and they were successful and they can now move forward with this confidence. Because I think if you go forward and you're not sure of yourself, you know, that's going to make it really, really challenging. So I think definitely pick a program that's, you know, proven that they are successful and that they put out sonographers who are ready to scan, you know. There's other schools in my area, and when I would go to clinical sites, they will tell me, you know, oh, we don't take students from that school. You know, we not that anything against the students, you know, but the programs, you know, not all of them are as intense and as successful as others, you know. It depends on, you know, how passionate the teachers are about teaching and the resources that they have, you know.
Mhm.
So I would even encourage people to contact like the hospitals and the offices in your area and ask them like, where do you get your students from, you know, so that you
Mhm.
know like what facilities are, what schools the facilities, you know, like their students from, because that's really saying something, you know. If a
Mhm.
facility, you know, would rather have a person from one school than the other just by the name of the school, you know, they don't even know the student, anything about the student they're going to get, but they know, like places would know, oh, you're a Gwinnett Tech student. Oh, you just go in and scan the patient then. I don't need to come with you. Like you're fine, you know? And
Mhm.
just having that for 2 years, you know, hearing that from clinical sites, it like really makes you feel like, wow, like I am being really prepared for this job. That's how I felt coming out of it. I felt like so prepared as to be an entry level sonographer. Obviously, you have to have real experience. And once I, you know, work for a couple years, I will have the experience to back up my confidence. But
Mhm.
just, you know, going through a program that people speak so highly of, you know, and that I know is hard and intense, and I really had to work for to be successful through it. You know, it just made me feel really prepared. And I think that's really good. I mean, from day one, they were getting us ready to take those registries. You know,
Yeah.
we were practicing registry questions from like the first day. And we were so overly prepared for our registry exams. I mean, wow, like sitting down and, you know, taking the test, I was terrified, obviously. I don't think anybody sits down and is just like, oh yeah, I got this. I think everyone's probably freaking out when they're taking the test. I was
Mhm.
definitely like shaking when I had to like click the all done button. I'm like, oh my, and everyone did great. I mean, every single one in my class, everybody in the history of my program has passed both of the abdomen and the OB one. So we knew going into it, you know, nobody has failed. We're obviously prepared. We're gonna be fine, but you're still scared. And then, you know, we all did amazing. So that was a really good feeling. And and I know not all programs, you know, have their students take the registries in school. I guess some,
Mhm.
you know, some people take the registries after school, especially if it's not an accredited program. But I would definitely recommend, even if your school doesn't, you know, require you to, because we were required to take abdomen and OBGYN before we graduated.
Mhm.
Um, if your school doesn't require you to, I would still make it a personal goal, because I just think going at first of all, it's going to make getting a job easier if you're already registered. But I think that it's going to be, you know, a really nice bit of confidence to just say, yes, I have these credentials behind my name, you know, I can answer these questions. I know what I'm doing. Like I can go out and scan and actually be reliable. And, you know, I would just make it a personal goal to do it as quickly as you can, because the other thing is you don't want to wait too long after you've been in school, you know, because some of that
Mhm.
information does leak out a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
I think when you've got it all right there, take the test, you know, study hard and take the test, and then have that credential behind your name, you know.
Yeah. Become registered. Definitely
Yeah.
really great advice. One of the questions was, what advice do you have for current and prospective sonography students? You gave a lot of advice. And I'm
I
just
was gonna
happy
say
that you
that
did.
throughout this episode, like you gave really, really meaningful and like
Mhm.
in-depth advice to prospective students and current students, even like newly grads, right? So what advice to sum it all up? Like, what's your one advice to have for the ones who are listening to this episode and watching, for them to take them from day one to, to where you are now?
I think that the really big thing, and that I haven't even said yet, but be compassionate, love your job, know that you're helping people. That's obviously, we all want to be successful and in the medical, world and everything. That's great. But you're helping patients, you're making people feel better. It could be your family, it's somebody's family, it's somebody's loved one. And you're there to help the doctor get a better look at what's going on and be able to treat them, and make them feel better. So, look at all your patients like they're your family member, and just really take care of them. And I think sometimes we get lost in the world of, ultrasound school and all this stuff, and we kind of maybe forget that part of it, But
Mhm.
that's the real reason why, everybody should be getting into this field, is because, they want to help people. They want to make people, give them a healthy lifestyle and all that. So I think just, be really passionate about that, and be compassionate towards everyone, and just have a positive attitude through the whole thing, because it's going to be hard. There's no getting around that. If you want to be good at it, it's going to be hard, and you just have to do it, work hard and get through it. And you have to just love it and be passionate about it and stay positive, and everybody will do great.
Yes.
Very well
That's
said.
amazing. Yes. Very, very good advice from Julie herself. Her YouTube is jmaesono, by the way, jmaesono. And I just really want to thank you for all of this advice. You gave all this realistic advice. Honestly, like I'm gonna be like, okay, if you're a student, you need to watch this video because it's everything you really truly need in like one sitting. I mean, we know there's a lot. We know there's so much more we can say. But we can only say so much in a short amount of time. And we really appreciate you sharing your knowledge, what you've learned. Obviously, you're successful and you're gonna be doing even more greater things. And I just love that you're taking care of your patients and doing your job to the best that you can. And we appreciate you coming in and sharing that all with us.
Thank you guys again so much. Yes, I really appreciate it. And I'm going to get back on my YouTube and make videos. It's hard when it's like you're studying for registries and you're job
Yeah.
hunting and you're starting a new job. I had to kind of like put it to the side for a minute, but now that I'm feeling really I love the hospital I work at, and I'm feeling really comfortable. Everybody that I work with is just so great. They're all great teachers. I was there twice as a student, and then I got hired right out of my my very last clinical rotation was there, and then I just stayed there and worked, And everybody is so great. They're so passionate about teaching, which is amazing. So I'm feeling really, really comfortable and happy there, and I'm finally going to be ready to get back on making some more of my videos soon.
Mhm. Yeah, that's why you're such a good teacher. I mean, I watch your videos and I'm learning from you and I'm like, wow, like it takes a lot to do all that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your uh, advice and inspirational, because I just get lost in it whenever you talk. So I'm just like, where are my thoughts? They're just like gone. So thank you so much. This episode definitely is for all the students, prospective students. So we gotta, let them know to
Yeah. Let
tune
them
in.
know to listen to what she has to say because you've got a lot to teach, a lot to share,
Mhm.
and you can tell that you're going to impact the lives of so many people, not just your patients, but like future sonographers. Um, and I applaud you. And that goes to show like being a part of a team that's very passionate and willing to help each other. That really does shape a sonographer. And so me and a lot of times from the very beginning of this podcast, we always would say like, we want to help the future be better. And there's all those students who I always feel bad for that, like, they don't have a good mentor or they don't get the time of day. And sometimes you have to put your best foot forward and do your best to like ask for that help, because some places won't just give it to you. So yeah, definitely, everybody needs to put their best foot forward and do their best. And if you really need help or you want to reach out to one of us and we'll give you advice personally, one-on-one, DM us, and I'm sure we can help you with whatever you're going through. So yeah,
Yes.
have a great
And if
episode.
you're listening to this, tuning into this, and if you haven't followed Julie on Instagram yet, she shares a lot of educational content on there. It is JMAE, same thing as the YouTube channel, right? JMAESONO.
Yeah, that's it.
Yay!
Yes, go follow her.
I'm
Yes.
posting all of my pathology content on there. So that was actually a project that we had to do in school. Oh my God, it was insane. It was like every single week, we pretty much moved on to a new organ or organ system, and we were making these ridiculously detailed charts with pictures, and they've got symptoms and just everything you could think of that you need to know to be able to identify something as a specific pathology. Spent hours and hours sitting there reading through my books and typing and making those, and it was honestly really worth it because it's a really, really good tool to study for the boards, just be able to flip through and look at the pictures and look at the symptoms and the ultrasound appearance. So those are on, I'm just kind of posting them. I try to do it every day, but it's not always every day, but I put them up on my story. People can, feel free to screenshot them or whatever, but they're also for sale on Stuvia. So people have checked them out on there. So that's where they are too. And I'm hoping to post also like some brain dumps from the boards, because a lot of my class, I want to make sure I get permission from my classmates, but I think everyone will be fine with it. But just, everybody kind of wrote down things that a lot of big topics that were on the boards or things that we thought were going to be on there and then weren't. So it's like, don't spend too much time studying that topic. It's not like heavily on the boards. So I'm probably going to work on getting that into just like a really simple list and posting that. So hopefully that helps people too who are getting ready to get their boards.
Yes,
And
you guys.
another thing that you guys were saying too, about like asking for help and, some students not having like a good community to, help them. If you're not the kind of student who normally takes advantage of like study groups and stuff like that, I never once was in a study group before ultrasound. Like I was always like, honestly, and it's probably hard to believe that because I'm like out here on YouTube and stuff, but I was like literally so shy in like high school. Like I did not talk to people, like no. But in ultrasound school, like being so close to that group of people who's going through the same thing that you're going through, because nobody else is going to understand. Like it's going to be that community, and specifically your class with the same teachers and the same clinical sites and everything, you need to get close to them and study with them, even if it's just at lunch or something, we would all study at lunch in the morning and the afternoon while we're scanning each other, on the weekends, we'd all Zoom and study with each other. Like it's really, really important to build yourself a little community, to have. But then, if you can't, like you guys said, we're here. Message us on Instagram, message us on YouTube. I have people reach out all the time, when I try to just help any way that I can. I know that everyone's program is a little bit different. And my advice, might not be exactly, in line with what your program, but at least it's, it's something, if anything, it's just a voice of like comfort, like you will be okay. Like it's all right. Just deep breath, ask your teachers for help. Don't be afraid to do that. I ask my teachers for help all the time. If you're having trouble at a clinical site, ask your teacher. If you are struggling with the subject, ask. If you need help scanning some specific thing, ask, because they want you to be successful. They do. So don't be afraid, just get the help that you need. And we're always here for you guys too.
Yes, she said it right there, you guys. you don't be afraid with messaging us. This community, we're here for a reason, and we're on these platforms for a reason, to help you guys. And yeah, we're definitely building a better future, I think, in sonography. And it all just starts with each other, one another, and just helping each other. I mean, we are going to be better for it as a whole, as a sonography community as a whole, and for our future, and then also for our patients as well. So you really hit the nail on everything, and I absolutely adored this episode and love it so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Julie.
But we'll definitely have to keep in contact and have you on in the future, and we'll see how everything is for you, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of different things, especially in different timelines and stuff like that. So definitely, you guys don't forget to follow her on Instagram, subscribe to her YouTube channel, check out her pathology notes. Those are actually really awesome and very helpful. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
So thank you to everyone who's watching and listening to this episode. Hope Julie has been very helpful to you, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, talk to you guys soon. Bye.